Welcome back to 340 Paddler, and here we are in week 14, which means we're coming up on a rest week, but we aren't quite there yet. I need you to push yourself one more week. Insert other motivational sort of speaking in this slot. So it may be kind of cold. It's early April if you've started this in January, and you're probably pushing to get out there. If you're down in Missouri, you're probably already in the water. If you're in Wisconsin, you're praying that ice off happens at some point before mid-June. Let's start with cardio. So cardio, of course, has been quite possibly the bane of your existence for a while now, and it continues. Now, week 13, we're looking at 4-mile runs, 45 miles on a bike if you're doing biking, or about 40 minutes swimming, give or take. In week 14, that does not change because the group that is sort of finishers to 60 hours, you've hit that foundational level. I'm not pushing you to go further in terms of cardio. I'm not sure it's going to do you as much good. If you're looking for that sub 50 finish, however, you are again expanding the long day. So you have 2 4-mile runs, and then you're going to have an 8-mile run. And when you get up into 7 and 8 miles, in my experience, that's usually where things get a little bit odd. It's usually sort of uncharted territory. Every time you run, especially that last mile, you have to be very aware of your body. You want to make sure that you're not creating an overuse injury or anything else. So you might find in the last mile, wow, my calves kind of get sore or something like that. In which case, you kind of keep an eye on that for the next couple of days. If the pain goes away, you're fine. If not, then you probably want to drop back a little bit. If you're behind a little bit, say you're only at 7 miles or 6 miles, that's fine. Follow the progression, 1 mile per week. Do not try and jump from a 6-mile long run to an 8-mile long run. You are asking for a stress injury at that point. So, and of course, next week you're going to run into the same break week everyone else will. Core exercises. So, of course, we need to do a new series of core exercises. So, here they are.
All right, so let's talk about some core exercises. Of course, we're into week 14, so I have a new series of core exercises, and these, despite my dog's best attempts over here, these will be done in the same way as we've done before. 3x10, advance to 3x15, 4x15, etc. So, what are we doing? First of all, I like to do a twisting motion, and that's where a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball comes in. I'm going to show you 2 variations. This is very similar to a Russian twist, although I'm not going to make you go out and get a medicine ball because it's pretty much a waste of money. We'll start with the simple, in this case, lacrosse ball. And what you're going to do from the front, you're going to have your feet out in front of you. Your legs do not have to be flat on the floor. You're going to take your ball, and all you're going to do is with 2 hands, push it one side, pick it up on the other. Back and forth, like this. From the side, it looks like this. So 2 hands rolling, 2 hands picking up. Now this is important. It looks like a very simple exercise, and it is. But it's going to start loosening up your core a little bit more. It'll loosen up your shoulders a little bit. And it's a good way to start. If this is too easy, there's another variation. So, usually this would be a gallon of milk, but we're out of milk. So, it's a gallon of vinegar because a gallon's a gallon. And the reason I grab a gallon is water weighs a pint a pound. So I know that this weighs 8 pounds. You could fill something like this with sand and it would weigh more. You could fill it with anything, just getting more and more dense. So this is your medicine ball, basically. It even has a convenient handle. All you're going to do with it is you're going to sit a little bit back. I'm maybe 15, 20 degrees back. I'll turn this way. You can see I'm back a little bit, but I'm not all the way back. I'm not trying to recline. I'm just sitting a little bit back off of vertical. And all you're going to do is take your weight and hold it any way that's going to be convenient to you. And you're going to hit it on the floor by your hip, pick it up. Same thing on the other side. And just going back and forth. And this is going to help work on that twisting motion that we've been dealing with. Whether you're single blading or double blading, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're going to be using the same motion. Second, this is going to be for everyone. I'll have a third exercise for those of you that are looking for a little more punishment or looking to sub 50. In this case, we're going to do a reverse crunch, or we're going to head in that general direction. But there's a couple of steps to this that you've done before. So, as I lay down, basically I'm going to bring my legs up, and then once I can successfully bring them up and down for however many I need, up to 20, then I'm going to push further to create that reverse split. So your hands are down here by your hips, usually fingertips down. Bring your legs up and down. That's your basic motion. If that gets to be too easy, then you bring your legs up and then you push and bring them down and down. Up, push, down. And the push is coming from the core. It's not going to be coming from your shoulders. I don't need you to rip up your shoulders doing this. So, if you have issues doing the full motion with that push at the end, then leave the push out, just bring your legs up. And that will do it for, what we're dealing with for the center core. Alright, so I wanted to add a third exercise. Maybe you don't think that you've hit your core enough. Maybe you want to do sub 50. Whatever the situation is, they're flutter kicks. I used to hate these in cross country and track, but let's be honest, they work. And they work really well for the lower core. They are a pain to do, literally and figuratively, but they work. So, what am I talking about? Basically, what you're going to do is set up much like before. You can have either your hands next to you, or if you're bony, you can put your hands in sort of a diamond shape under your tailbone so that you're suspending your tailbone over the ground. And all you're going to do is bring your feet up and kick. And each time my left foot, for example, goes up, that's 1. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you do this, you want to do it in a very controlled fashion. You want your heels to either barely touch the ground or not touch the ground at all. You don't want to rest in there. You want to constantly keep moving up and down. And this, again, you would do, 3 sets of 10, moving to 6 sets of 20. Although this you could also do for time. So you could do it as starting with, say, 20 seconds, do 20 seconds, next time 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, etc., kind of expanding that way. It is a difficult exercise as you build it out, as you start doing it for longer and longer sets. So be aware of that, but it is very effective. Now moving forward, I will have more exercises for you in week 18, but then in week 22, I will not, because at that point you should be starting to taper into the race. So, that being said, let's get back to 340 Paddler.
After all, we just want you to finish, like the legs. Well, in this case, the legs and the arms and the heads and it's a joke. Their name. Anyway, moving on. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, quarrels, qualms, quandaries, curse words, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, this is 340 Paddler hoping that you keep your paddle in the water.